Texas-Mexico border when I was with the Attorney General's office, seeing immigration, seeing illegal aliens come over, and I felt bad. And I heard a story from one of the individuals that at one time they caught a woman and her baby that was trying to get into the U.S. And for the record, if I lived in Mexico, I'd try to get into the U.S. as well. Or if I lived anywhere else, I'd try to get into the U.S. And the woman, they were being sent back. The woman said, "Take my baby." Now, I would have taken the baby if she wanted me to, but we have to draw the line. We cannot continue this. We're not even going to be able to properly take care of immigrants if they come in here illegally in the mass numbers that they are.
And do you support legal immigration, increasing number of legal immigrants coming in this country?
Yes, legally.
Increasing that number?
Yes.
You support that?
Somebody who wants to come to this country and that is productive and wants to contribute and raise their family here and educate their children here, that's what we're all about.
What about illegal immigrants with children that are U.S. citizens?
Yeah. I do not support that. That's a backdoor into the system, and you're going to see that explode if that is accepted. Again, I'm compassionate about it, but if the parent is here illegally, but the child is born here in this country, they both must go back, and I certainly wouldn't want to separate a child from its parent. Do it the legal way.
But isn't a child born in America a citizen?
Yes.
I understand. So you're sending American citizen back with the parent?
Well, it's you know, that there was that concept was based on slavery. Okay, and I think that argument's going to be made. Slaves were brought here against their will, and they were made to have big families so they could create more slaves. Illegals are here on their own. They're not forced to be here.
I think the point, though, is wouldn't we have to amend the Constitution in order to do what you're proposing?
Perhaps. Perhaps it'll be something that goes before the Supreme Court, and the court will make the decision. But that is not out of the question.
I guess, and just from a practical perspective, we're talking X million number of legal immigrants, and your suggestion is to physically take them back to their country. Let's say it's conservatively $5 per person. Are American citizens going to go for spending $100 million to send illegal immigrants back when that money could be put to other uses? I mean, how much of a
yes, because it's costing us, 100 times more for illegals to be here. And I realize that most of these illegals want to work because, unfortunately, in this country, some of us think that we're too good to bend over and pick crops in a field or to clean a restroom. So that's another reason why, look, if we're not going to do these jobs, and that's not for the only reason, but there are people who are willing to come to this country legally and work just to get a job, and that's why I support expanding to a degree the legalization of people coming in.
Earlier this year, there was some discrepancy in the press regarding your position on Social Security. Can you clarify what your position is on Social Security?
There was no discrepancy. There was no discrepancy at all. If you listen to the radio program on which I was on, my opponent and his people cleverly edited a statement that I made. I simply stated, if we do not fix Social Security, it will go bankrupt, and we'll be lucky if my generation and other generations get to see it without cuts. Well, you know how that goes. Today on the computer you can do anything. So they eliminate, if we do not fix, it'll go bankrupt, and they take off the other side and said Marino wants to cut Social Security. It's not true. It's just a desperate attempt by my opponent, who will not campaign on the issues, who will not debate me. You don't hear him running on the fact that I am proud of my vote for the health care bill, although he sends a letter out occasionally telling people he's proud of it. He won't talk to people about it. He's staying very secluded. When I go on the radio, I answer questions. When he went on the radio, once that I know of, he wouldn't take any questions.
Where do you think we should go with Social Security? What do we need to do to fix it? What do we need to do to fix Social Security?
One of the first things that we can do is have the Treasury pay back what it's taken out with interest. And then we need to sit at the table and we've got to get the right statistics, because each side seems to come up with statistics that favor their position. But the budget office and other offices are saying, if we do not fix this soon, what was it when it was first started? Now don't quote me on these figures, but it was a fair number of people who paid Social Security were paying for one or two people. And then it dropped down to, I'm going to just hypothetically use numbers. When it first initiated, there were 30-some people working for every person collecting Social Security. And then over the years it dropped to 15 people. I think it's now down to 2 or maybe even 1 for 1. So we have to preserve Social Security. Nobody should touch it. The government or any other entity, it should be a locked box, and the people who pay into it collect it. And the government has to put back what it took out, and we've got to sit down and figure out what we're going to do to continue to preserve Social Security for people that are in their 20s and 30s.
If you get elected, which committees would you be interested serving on?
I was just asked that question the other day by some people. I would like to be on agriculture, because we are a very agricultural area. I've been on many farms, and I see what the farmers are going through. I would like to be on veterans, because there's nobody that deserves to be treated more fairly than our veterans. I wouldn't be able to sit here today. None of us would be able to sit here today if it weren't for our veterans. And transportation.
Any particular reason why transportation?
Because it's important to our area. You know, we've been promised for many, many years that in the Northumberland, Snyder, Union County area that we were going to have a bypass. It just hasn't happened.
In terms of your background or your expertise, where do you think you will be able to make most contribution?
I think several areas. As I said, I was raised in a blue-collar family. My father was a fireman and a janitor. I worked in a factory until I was 30, so I know what it's like to live from paycheck to paycheck. I know how to stretch a buck. Well, my wife knows how to stretch the buck. I worked my way up. My wife and I put me through college and law school. I got a good education, a sound education. I graduated 7 years of school. That's 4 years of college and 3 years of law school in 5 years, because that's all the money we had. I had to take overloads and go during the summer to get through. My legal experience in private practice, certainly as a prosecutor for 18 years, as a district attorney for 2 years as an assistant and 10 years as the DA in Lycoming County. I saw the misfortunes of people in the criminal justice system. And as a U.S. attorney, I got to be exposed on a much wider basis at a federal level. I helped write legislation. I have a good cross-grain of experience in my life. I do not have all the answers. I do not propose to have all the answers. There is not one silver bullet that's going to change everything, but it's a combination of, as I said, being professional, start treating each other in Congress with respect instead of disdain, and realize who we work for. And I apologize for using we, but it's about time that people in Washington realize that, you know, we voters, we're a pretty smart group of people. And I see that more and more as I'm covering the district. I have never seen more people engaged in an election as I see in this election. Judiciary, I'm sure someone's going to say you're a prosecutor or put you on judiciary. I would do a fine job there. I'll do a fine job wherever they put me. I will work hard. I will study the issues, and I'll make the people of the 10th Congressional District proud of me.
Would you seek earmarks for the district?
Sure, it would.
Can you cite any specific projects or programs that you think are deserving of funding? Is there anything on your radar right now that you think?
Well, first of all, earmarks, I've been, my position on earmarks has always been, I'll try and bring back to the district what we deserve. And I won't be ashamed to do it publicly, announce it ahead of time so people can discuss it with me. I don't support at all anybody on both sides of the aisle waiting till the night of the vote at 2 o'clock on a Sunday morning and slip something in. Earmarks that we need, money we need in this district is for the bypass that I just spoke about. Infrastructure, the Marcellus Shale is bringing in a lot of jobs, but it also is bringing in a lot of traffic, and it's bringing in other issues that we have to address. So we need to be able to make sure that our schools and our teachers, our classrooms aren't overcrowded. We have to make sure our hospitals can take care of the people. We have to make sure that our infrastructure is taken care of. I mean, the list goes on, but that's just some of the things that I would fight for. And protecting, again, our seniors and our veterans. We cannot cut their Social Security any way whatsoever, and we need to make it easier for the veterans to be able to go into a hospital instead of having to travel 2 and 3 hours to go get an appointment. One of the things that I promised that I would do if I have the good fortune of being elected for the veterans, I will have a veteran on my staff that reports directly to me and doesn't have to go. You know, when you call a congressman or a congresswoman's office, it's, well, I got to put you in with this person, then I got to talk to that one, then I got to talk to the chief of staff. Veterans are so important to me that that person will report right to me, and we will work on those issues together. And one of the things that I propose is, why not, with today's technology, you know a great deal about the technology, why can't a veteran have a card with his or her information on it, and instead of traveling from Williamsport to Wilkes-Barre, why can't they go into a hospital in Williamsport, put that card into the system, and get the treatment that they need there? They're even having to travel a couple of hours for blood tests. It's not practical.
You mentioned Marcellus Shale. Do you favor EPA regulation of the Marcellus Shale?
I'm a little bit ambivalent about the federal government coming in on anything at this point. I think the state has good regulations that we should follow. I live out in the country. I'm on a well. I support the Marcellus drilling, but I support it in a way that it will protect the environment. I'm on a well. I've been there for 10 years. I don't want anybody messing with my water, because if once I lose the water, my property is worth zilch. And if I have clean water for 10 years, and there's a rig drilling a half a mile from me, or a mile, I'm not putting any particular distance on it, and all of a sudden there's something wrong with my water, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that that has something to do with it. And once that's established, that drill has to be shut down, that person has to be made whole again, and that drilling site isn't opened up until they can guarantee it's not going to happen again. But I do support the industry. I visited Dimmick, where my opponent lives. He wouldn't meet with a bunch of people. There were 30 people that I drove 2 hours to go see. After 2 days, and they called me and they wanted to show me what they were experiencing. These are people saying that my water is contaminated because of this drilling. And after I was done, they thanked me, and I said, you don't have to thank me. Well, my opponent wouldn't even talk with him, and he lived less than a half a mile from where we met. And not only did I talk to these people about what was going on, they took me to their house, and they showed me how they get water. For 2 years, people have been, they're delivered water free, but how many of us here have been without water for a day or two? I know I have, because of a storm or something, and it's, I think it's the end of the world. Well, these people have to brush their teeth with bottled water, drink bottled water. They have a big tank in their garage that takes up, they can't park their car there anymore, and they deliver water every day, 500 gallons, but they say don't drink it. And then they showed me what's in the bottom of that. And it's not right. If these people are damaged because of the drilling, they have to be made whole again, and they can't wait for 5 years to do it. So we can put a man on the moon. We can do, transplant hearts. We can certainly drill for gas and protect the environment and make sure that we are protected.